Agence Europe.
Good evening, Secretary General. Jan Kodis from Agence Europe. I have two questions. First, you mentioned the common funding mechanism. Could you be more precise what changes there will be made? And specifically, you mentioned the strengthening of joint exercises. Could you tell us how they will be funded, from where? And just a second question relates to the NATO planning, NATO defense planning process. Is there any changes to this process? Thank you.
On common funding, we have decided to enhance the use of common funding within some specific areas, focusing on how we can improve deployability, the mobility of our forces, how we can facilitate interoperability, that is the ability of our forces to operate and work together, and that can be through training and exercises, education. And as I mentioned, we would also enhance the use of common funding when it comes to joint intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance. So it's first and foremost about enhancing the use of common funding within certain areas that we would like to promote in the coming years. On top of that, we have also agreed to improve the management of the resources so that we make sure that common funding is transparent and money is spent in an efficient manner. As regards exercises, let me stress that as a point of departure, exercises will still be a national responsibility and financed by member states. But we can facilitate NATO exercises by using common funding to finance parts of it. On the NATO defense planning process, we have agreed to, if I have to make it very short, we have agreed to make the whole process more transparent, more synchronized with national defense planning, in general more efficient and responsive to what might be the future requirements when it comes to military capabilities.
We'll go to Reuters in the first row.
Thanks. Adrian Croft from Reuters, Secretary General. I just wanted to ask you on the general question of defence spending. Do you think there's a limit to how much greater efficiency you can achieve from defence spending through smart defence, and are we approaching that point?
Yeah, definitely. Multinational cooperation and smart defence are an important part of the response to economic austerity. No doubt that we can save money if we join efforts, if we pool and share resources, if we go for more multinational cooperation. But obviously there is also a limit as to how much we can achieve that way, and this is a reason why more multinational cooperation doesn't solve all our problems and is not a response to all our challenges. We also need a sufficient level of defense investment, and that's my major concern, that if cuts continue, it will damage severely our ability to meet and address the future security challenges.
AP, here in the second row, please.
Don Melvin, Associated Press. Senior NATO officials are telling us that NATO is strongly considering a proposal to continue funding an Afghan security force of 352,000 troops through 2018 as a way of convincing Afghanistan that its allies are not going to abandon it. when there was an agreement to fund a force of 230,000, I think the estimate of that was $4.1 billion a year, the cost. How much would it cost to fund the larger force? And in this era of declining budgets that you've already referenced several times today, are you confident that you can find the money? Is this even within the realm of possibility?
Yeah, first of all, let me stress that no final decisions have been made, but I can confirm that it's one of the ideas that is being considered. I feel confident that we will be able to finance Afghan security forces of that size. Right from the outset, we have set the goal to reach a level of 352,000 Afghan security forces, soldiers and police. And the international community has pledged to help financing that because a security force of that size goes well beyond the financial capacity of the Afghan government. And I stress this because this is not a responsibility for NATO only. This is actually a responsibility for the whole of the international community. And that has been confirmed at international conferences. So it is a responsibility for the whole of the international community. I think it's easy to make the case that it's better to finance Afghan security forces than to deploy international troops. From a political point of view, it's better to give the defense of Afghanistan an Afghan face. And from an economic point of view, it is actually less expensive to finance Afghan security forces than to deploy foreign troops.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Of course, we will discuss Afghanistan tomorrow. Thank you.